Hello, welcome. My name is Jordan Chrisley. We are going to be building comments on Flatstagram today. So let's jump right in. This is our description of the project. We have the comment model, which we're going to be building up, the basic mode that all of the comments are made from, and we have the comment controller to control the web page and use that comment class so we can effectively add comments and stuff to Flatstagram. So this is the functionality that we're going to be talking about. I love this picture. Bam. And we can leave comments on there. And it stays on the correct picture. Because we don't want to be leaving comments on our girlfriend's post and then have it show up on our friend Bob's post telling him he's pretty. That wouldn't be a good thing. Alright, so we want the comments to go ahead and stay right there. Haha, very funny. And you can see that they all stay on. I'm sorry, I can't type and talk at the same time. They all stay on the correct image. Now, it's pretty simple what we're going to do, so let's jump right into it. First, we want to look at directions. I rearranged the directions for my README file, but this is all copied and pasted, so trust me, we won't miss any points, alright? So first thing we're going to do is build up the comment class and then the comment controller. The main thing you want to do is understand the difference between these two because the comment model is meant to stamp new comments into existence. The comment controller is a control of the web page. It's not actually controlling the comment class. It's using the comment class to control the web page. Now that we have that understood, let's talk about how we're going to build this comment model because we're going to do that first. Comment.all is a very big requirement for our tutorial. Now that actually fits into the comment constructor because we want this, the comment.all property, to be an array of all the comments ever made and just be a property of the actual comment class. Now, uh, that is handled within the first couple of lines of our comment constructor. All right. As you can see, we're using the comment.all, and we're not referring to the instance of this comment. We're referring to the comment class here. We use that. We create an array. Dot push. Make it this. Push the instance of this comment into that array. The next thing we do is start satisfying the requirements of here. Basically, all they want is an ID, an image object, and the comment content. Not that hard to to fulfill. So we have those three properties here. We have the ID, we have the comment content, and we have the image property. All right. Now the ID is simply going to be the dot all, the array that holds the comments. We're going to take the length of that and make it the ID of whatever instance we're creating. Next thing we're going to do is this comment content, this dot comment content. So every comment is going to have a property of comment content, and it's going to actually equal the content that we pass in whenever we create that comment. All right. We also pass in image ID whenever we create a comment. And what we do is take that image ID and we look for the correct image. Now, once we find it, it's going to be this dot image. It's going to be stuck under our image property within that comment. So we always have copy of the image object for which this comment was created. All right. Now, this find image is necessary to create a new class. So let's go ahead and step into that. So our find image function takes one parameter, an ID. Now it takes that image ID that it was actually passed here. So this function is passing it to this function. And what it's going to do is use this image.all array. Just like we have a comment.all array, we're going to have an image.all array, and we didn't have to build that. It was already given to us. All we have to do is take that array and filter it. What we're filtering it for is we're stepping through each element in the array, and we pass it into this function. Now, once it gets past in this function, it gives it a simple test. Does the element's ID equal the ID that we passed in here? All right. And if it does, then it'll return true. If it doesn't, then it'll return false. Once this filter function finishes running, it's going to give us an array of all of the elements that pass. Now, only one element is going to pass, so we want to access that one element. Boom, right there, index number 0. Now we have the correct image stored in our image variable. Now each image actually has a comments property. What we're going to do, per the requirements of this project, is add the current image's content, add the current comment to the image comments property. All right, image.comments.push. That's what we're doing here. All right, we're adding this comment to the image comments property. And once we do that, we return the image, and this dot image equals find image. Now we are going to focus on the next part and the last part of our comment class. We are going to worry about the comment L property. So basically they're telling you they want you to make a function that makes comment elements, HTML elements. All right, so it's going to return a string of HTML that has an ID attribute and also shows the content of that comment. All right. So it's very simple. All we have to do is create a string. Now notice we use these backticks so we could use ES6 interpolation. All right. We have the li, the list item tag, and then we give it this ID attribute just like they wanted. We use this interpolation to say the instance of the comment. So any comment that you write this on, so comment instance dot comment L. All right. Now, anytime it does that, it's going to take this instance and it's going to take the ID from it and it's going to assign comment ID number 123456 to right there. All right. And then it's going to take that same instance and it's going to pull its comment content property in order to go ahead and fill in that comment. All right. So that's what you're looking at right there whenever it does that. Now that we've built the stamp, we've built the mold, let's go ahead and move on to the controller. We have two requirements in this controller. Our comments controller should have an add event form listener function. So what that function is going to do is add the form listener. Remember, this controls the web page. We want to add the form listener to the correct elements on that web page. That way we can listen for events and then respond to them in the correct way so we can have comments. All right. And then the next thing we're going to do is render the comment object on the web page. All right. So let's focus on this one first. This add form event listener. We have it here. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is, of course, select the correct elements to add this event listener to. Now that was actually done for us here. What this line of code does is, one, it denotes that this is a jQuery variable by having this $sign here, $sign. See, now it's giving us every element, every HTML element on the page that contains this class, .add comment. Now, luckily for us, the only ones that contain that page are the forms on there, which are the comments for the purposes of our project. All right. Now that we have the correct ones selected, we're going to use this jQuery function. It's .on. So on submit, we want to run this function using the event object that's passed to us via that function. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is prevent the default from the event. That's great to do, especially for submits or sometimes clicks. Basically, it tells it to whatever it would regularly do, don't do that, but do the things that we're going to tell you to do right here, okay? Um, and what we're going to do is create a variable first out of the event.target. See, events, they target certain elements. They don't just happen. They usually target something. And in this case, it's going to be the form that we want. So we want to target that element, all right? Now, the ID is going to be form element dot get attribute data ID. What that does is pull the correct ID, which is going to refer to the correct image, which is going to keep our stuff on the correct page. All right. So let me go ahead and note that for you. First thing we want to do, number one, grab the form element, the correct form element. All right. And just have a concrete way to handle it. Now, the second thing we want to do is create this ID from the forms ID. Now we have a number to work with, okay? Now the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and grab the comment content from the input. After that, we want to create a new instance of a comment. All right, so that's what we're doing. We're using that same constructor that we just built earlier. We're passing in the comment content. We're passing in the image's ID. All right. Now the image's ID, of course, is the same as the data ID. That's why we can do that. Now we're just going to reset the input. Event.target.comment description.value is going to equal nothing now. All right. So that's why whenever we go here and we write in a comment, boom, as soon as we hit boom, add comment, this is now blank again, thanks to this line of code. After that, then we use this dot render and we pass in that same comment object. All right. Let's go ahead and step down to render. So with render, what they wanted was selects the appropriate UL for it to be added to. Of course, we're doing that using the IDs. And then it's going to append the new comment to this UL. Now, they said don't try to copy the images controller.render function because that's implemented differently, and it is. So we're just going to come up with our own solution, or we have come up with our own solution right here. I've noted these steps for you as well. Let's select the correct target element comment section UL list using that ID. All right. So every comment object, which is the parameter that's passed in here, refers to an image, right? And every image has an ID. So what we can do is comments list equals document.get element by ID, and we know the IDs are in this format: comments, and then there's going to be a number. The number is that comment object's image property. That image property has an ID. Boom, we can get it here. And it's better if you read it from right to left sometimes. So the ID of the image, which is inside the comment object. That's all you got to do. Now, let's create a string of HTML with it. Comment, remember that comment element function that we built? Boom. All right. It's going to return a string of HTML with the ID in it, and it's going to return the comment content in it. But it formats us in this nice, pretty list item element. All right. Now we have that list item element stored in this variable. All right. Now the last thing we have to do is go ahead and take that comment list that we selected earlier and insert this this li list that we created just now. And first thing, and all we're going to do is just go ahead and insert it before the end. Yeah, and this comment is referring to this variable, which is our li list. I hope that this tutorial was helpful for you and that you create many, many Elastigirams within your lifetime. All right. Everybody have a great day. I'll talk to you soon.